Wouldn't it be amazing if I just like put the title that Eric July is going to be here and all that, and then I just talked about women's tennis in Abu Dhabi, which was going on this morning for the next hour instead?
You
I think
ruined
that
the joke. You didn't even give it 10 seconds.
well, I've got 10 seconds for this.
I'm saying this bigger than rappers. I'm saying that you need to back up. So back up. I'm saying that this would not end in a tie. I can't let it slide.
Hey, Eric.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, we're just having fun on the internet. How about you?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm doing well, man. Glad to, obviously finally link up and chat with you, man.
Yeah, likewise. It's been about a year of covering the Rippaverse, which I started for Bounding Into Comics. That became like my beat for them.
Nice.
Pretty fun. So yeah, it's good stuff. You crushed it. So congrats again, and loved the book. Absolutely enjoyed it, and can't wait for the next one.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh man. I guess my question for you, like as a streamer, how do you get the people who hate you to come on and look stupid for hours? Because they won't. The ones that hate me won't come on here. They just get mad at me and block me. Like, what's your secret with that?
I don't know. I think that's a good question, man. A lot of these guys, I say all the time how they overstate their own like intelligence, and I think that I don't know if it's like kind of the audience or echo chamber that they're in, where they've convinced themselves that they actually, I don't know, can put up a decent point. But yeah, it all ends the same. I know it's they all end in the kind of the conclusion is all the same. We meet to the same spot where it's like, hey, these guys are going to make fools of themselves. So you got people that think like I'm trolling, like it's like he's just getting these random people to come up here, and they like he's like hand selecting like really, and it's like, no, man, like these are the people that, because oftentimes I do have the problem of getting them to come on anyway. But ones that do accept it just happen to be as stupid as they are. So it's not.
I noticed they're never good communicators. They always are just like they come across as just super bitter, and it's like, why are you mad at this guy who's making a comic book? Like
that's how it is, right? It's like really they haven't like. There's no reflection, self-reflection. Like they haven't really thought anything through. It's like, okay, I have this person or this person that I need him to be. So he's going to be that regardless. Like, so once you get usually early on in the dispute, you can kind of knock down all of that nonsense, and they can't really deviate from that, right? It's a script.
Right.
It's like they can't deviate from that. And that's what makes them sound so dumb, because I guess at minimum they've prepared, like, I guess the pre-planned argument is all that they have. And anything that exists outside of that is just, they don't have that capability, the capacity to just kind of freestyle there. So
that's tough to deal with, especially when you're dealing with like free thinkers. And like, I mean, your whole job is streaming on the internet, kind of stream of consciousness. So it's like, it's like you're obviously like able to just like quickly like talk about different points over and over again. It's like that's kind of the job. So it's very interesting. Everybody thinks they can do it. It's tough.
No, it's not. It's not easy. And I guess maybe that's what it is. It's like they can't do it themselves, so they assume that I guess everybody else is as dumb as they are. It's not how it works.
Yeah. No, it is just the internet. Hey, Rawl, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate it. It's good to see you. It's been a while. Eric July, good job against that weirdo yesterday. Yeah, we were referencing that. He was always trying to gotcha you and command you on what you must support. He was so annoying. Yeah, I caught a few minutes of that, and I was like, oh, this is cringy.
Yeah, he was unprepared, man. It was, or I don't know. I guess this is this guy that he thought that I was, but it ended up bad, man. Like this guy he had no idea what he was talking about. You can hear like his Discord going off in the background. He's trying to get lines from his posse to kind of help him out. And that's probably so I didn't speak about this on stream, but that's probably the insulting part of it, that he doesn't understand how he is being. You just came on my stream, made an absolute fool of yourself, embarrassed yourself. And it's your own posse that's kind of trying to kind of incentivize you to insult yourself, because one of the guys that he's getting the lines from is a guy that declined a dispute with me. Like he specifically stated he wouldn't debate me. So it's like you're being used by your own bros, man. Like have some sort of humility, man.
You can hear the flight simulator voice going, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up.
Oh, man. Paladin Dragoon Rider, thank you for the $2 super chat. Gun control and taxation is theft. I 100% agree with your points. I I can't say I find any fault in it. What about you, Eric?
Oh man, that's my position, top to bottom. He's got it. He's got
so, Dojo Kun, thanks for the $2 super chat. They aren't prepared for the IQ of the opposition. Never are. Never are.
True.
Yeah,
very true.
Yeah, it's I live in the great state of California. So guns are illegal and they tax us to death. So I'm really looking forward to April this year. It's I get so mad in that month. It's the worst. Yeah.
Those Discord notifications weren't just on; they were like bass boosted.
Beep, beep, beep. I know. That was amazing.
Yeah, no, he did.
Oh,
he did. Like he had no idea like what he was talking about, and you could even see him like on his perspective. I wasn't showing it, but that was, I guess, the double mistake was him streaming from his perspective, so everybody can see him, right? So we see him like trying to zoom in. He's trying to read talking points. He's on Wikipedia trying to Google real fast. It's just. It was all bad. It was all bad.
Never works out.
No.
One of the early criticisms you got was from our dear friend Vito. And I actually am friends. I actually am friends with Vito. I've known him since 2014, like prior to us being internet people. And he's from the Bay Area here. But he always went after you pretty hard, saying, it's not a Rippaverse. It's just one book. It's not a verse, but you do have a verse brewing, and so this is about to expand pretty big. I'm also friends with Chuck Dixon on the other side, which and he's told me that he's actually completed a script for you, and and this is becoming a big deal, huh?
We've talked. It's not everything set in stone, but we have talked. But I can confirm this, that we do have, to your point, there's 3 books that minimum are going to get released this year. I hope I can get a 4th one in. All of them will be over 90 pages. So they're going to be pretty meaty. And yeah, like it's expanding, man. It expanded really fast. When I got kind of legitimized by the audience and they invested by being supporters and again, putting their money where their mouth is, that gave us the initial kind of boost. So it's like, okay, we immediately started investing. I'll joke about that all the time. Like, hey, I didn't go buy Lamborghinis and stuff with the millions of dollars. It's like I immediately reinvested it right back into the company. I expanded the staff where I could. And this is something that I want to see through. It's a lifelong dream, man. I understand I'm blessed to be in this situation that I'm in. And I want to make sure I'm taking the utmost advantage. And it's also cool to like work with, other people, even have those discussions you talk about with Chuck, like even have those discussions with people. I was talking with Graham Nola on my channel the other day, to be able to even have those discussions, to even consider like maybe teaming up with these people, having them do scripts for us, stories, artwork. That's a real cool part of this whole ordeal, because
it's a big blessing. Like, how old are you? Are you?
I'm young. I'm only 32. So yeah,
you're only 32.
Yeah,
Chuck was like really big, like when I was like 10. And so like just being able to talk to him on the internet, it's just like, wow, this is crazy that Chuck Dixon talks to me. Right.
Yeah. Right. Same with Graham Nolan, you know what I mean? Like,
Graham Nolan's amazing.
Those were like, those were books that I was reading, you know what I mean? When I was a kid, so it's wonderful, man.
That's great. Comics Exposed, thank you for the $20 super chat. Eric, just letting you know that item number 2 has to be a lot better than item number 1 for me to continue supporting the Rippaverse. I truly hope you address the complaints from the writing and the art, not ignore these complaints. I didn't have complaints. It was a good first issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, most people didn't. To be fair. Like most people, and that's what it was about. It was about giving customers what it is they want. Most people, anybody can nitpick and find something wrong somewhere with something, but the general consensus is that people like it. So hopefully if it isn't ISOM, there's other books that are coming out, you know what I mean? So maybe those are more kind of maybe up your speed, but as far as like the writing and the art, I mean, general consensus has been like that. We're getting positive reception. People like what Cliff and Dave did, and they like kind of where the story's going with cliffhangers and all that. So, I take that. I'm listening to that as opposed to, you have
a good character. You got a supporting cast that are memorable. That's half the battle right there. And then it unfolds. You got to remember, like, Amazing Fantasy 15 was literally just like Spider-Man kind of getting his powers and watching his uncle die. That's it. Yeah. And then and then you get the lore and the mythos building up. I mean, it really took those first 50 issues to get that going to the point where you kind of see that whole like picture of what it is today. Yep. So since you've got about 90 pages, that's about 3-4 issues per book. So you've got I'm going to give you, let's see, can I do math real quick like this? I guess that's about 12 volumes in order to build up that mythos. There you go.
Give me 12 volumes. I'll take it. Yeah. That works for me. We'll for sure have it fleshed out by then.
Excellent. Yeah. So have you gone through and actually kind of like built out a MCU phase 4 sort of like deal with that, or are you kind of just like playing it by ear a little bit?
Well, it's a little bit of both, but before I ever even wrote ISOM, I built a universe Bible. So what I did was I went through some of the characters that got introduced, not all of them, but a lot of the characters that got introduced in ISOM 1. I fleshed them out as far as, and obviously I can pivot wherever I need to, but just kind of who they are, family, ideas, all that stuff. And I jotted down with each entry, the character entry, right? Same thing happens with places, all that, cities, all that, same thing. So I have an idea of kind of what direction that we're going in, but it's certainly been fun and that's the most fun, working with the other writers, working with the other artists that are going to be kind of depicting some of these characters throughout the year and relaying that information and getting feedback on kind of where they can kind of see where it fits in this whole entire universe. So I did a lot of building before I ever wrote, and I think that's why it was so easy for me to write ISOM in itself, was because I spent the better part of a year just fleshing out characters, just trying to get ideas, put a pen to pad, and there were some characters that I introduced as I was writing it, but most of them I had already developed them, at least in my universe Bible entry.
Yeah, I saw that. I guess one of the criticisms I saw a lot was that Yaira was really a cameo in the book. It wasn't her book, and she wasn't a part of this so much. Mm-hmm. You were just kind of putting that in there. But that's again, if this was a Marvel or DC comic, every time they launch a new character, they bring Spider-Man in to have a cameo for issue 3, just real quick, and he's just in there for a few pages, and then he pops back out again just to let you know that's in the same universe, that these people exist. It's a standard comic thing. It's not bad writing. That's what Marvel does. It has always done, right?
Well, Superman was the ambassador for every character from 1940 clear up to the 1990s. You weren't DC unless Superman was next to you on your cover.
Yep.
You can't even track Batman or Wolverine's appearances because, it's oh, Jesus.
He was definitely Wolverine was everywhere. But no, that's what it was. I know we had a tall order, right? It was, in 96 pages. I'm not just launching ISOM's, book per se. I'm trying to launch this entire universe. So it's very important that I had those other characters that are introduced, her being one of them. And just kind of, putting them in where I could and make them fit into the story. And you see there's these different launching points. So, Yaira has her bit going on with the Alpha Core in the book. And then you have, this deal is happening between Santuan and ISOM. So there are these different branch off points that of course we're going to take advantage of, and that's kind of what we had to do in addition to just being able to tell ISOM's kind of first book story.
Yeah, exactly. Raul, thank you for the 199 super chat. Yaira is a breakout. Embrace the waifu potential. Yeah, you've got people cosplaying the character already. She's only been in a few pages. It's amazing.
And I didn't expect that. Being completely honest, her poster outsold ISOM's poster for the entire campaign. So it was insane.
I could have told you that'd be the case.
Yeah.
You put a pretty girl up there, everybody buys it. They love it.
It worked out. But,
how about that, John? How about that?
Oh my gosh! Speaking of pretty girls, yes.
That's the thing about. I learned that in music, man. Where you'll do a song and do a full album for that matter, and maybe that song is you thought it was going to be the top one everybody liked, and maybe people found this decent, but there was this song that you kind of just slid in there that people just fell in love with, and you kind of got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, that's it, and it always. It's interesting for musicians, and I was in a band in my 20s also, and I couldn't get the touring circuit going or anything like that. Sold a song to MTV's Real World, nice. Which ended up in there, which still pays me, but a song being in a background like that doesn't actually get you famous, is what people don't realize.
That's true. That's true.
And so I was just I did this, and but that just still wasn't enough for clubs to really want you to get play and all that. But I kind of realized over the course of that, when I was doing it, it's the bands that get famous, like they have to play their same songs over and over again for decades if they make it. Like you don't get to deviate. Maybe you get to slip one or two different in there, but that's got to be rough. Are you still doing music and stuff?
Yeah, still doing stuff with Backwards, man. And we're about to get stuff going this upcoming year. But you're totally right. I mean, it's kind of it's one of those things where initially, definitely, like as far as what you saw, what was the reason you kind of saw success for, kind of has to be really taken into consideration. Almost no artist does it, right? Like I remember people when we came out with our first album, right? Veracity, and it was 18 tracks. I remember people saying, why in the world would you do such a big album like that, like with that many songs, yada yada. I was like, well, consider all the talent in the band and the different kind of genres we all come from with the influence. We needed that many tracks to kind of let people know what all we're capable of. So that way, definitely in the future with the follow-up albums and follow-up songs, it would sound off, right? So if the next song is like incredibly heavy, like in terms of like on the metal stuff, it won't be surprising. But if it's a little more melodic, it also wouldn't be surprising either. So that's kind of it has to be strategic because
you purposefully went in there to not get yourself typecast.
Bingo. That was the point that we wanted to drive home, and that way, going into the future, if we wanted that maybe this album was just focusing strictly heavy, say if I did no clean vocals the entire time, I'm just screaming the entire time, it's like it wouldn't be off. It wouldn't be off because that people have heard us do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You either get to like go a cool artistic direction, or you just literally kind of just like make the same song but deviate it just a little bit. I'm thinking about Blink-182 right now, and I'm just like, I remember just like every album they come out with is exactly the same, and it's like he's still like even the lyrics are like about like how like I'm on Ritalin and I'm screwed up and I miss my ex-girlfriend, and it's like, you're 50, bro. Yeah. Doesn't quite work as well. But cool. Well, I'm glad that that's a good way to set things up, and I definitely relate to that, like kind of like want to do something different artistically. It's a little less commercial that way, but like you get more passion out of it, and it's more fun as the artist, which I think translated. I think that's why like you've resonated so much, because like it's very obvious that you're just passionate about comics, about music, about pop culture in a way that like a lot of people just are checking the boxes. You're not doing that. You kind of just go off on what you want.
Yeah, man, this is something that was a dream for me. I wouldn't envision that at this young of an age I would have been able to do something like that, to start like a multi-million-dollar comic book. I feel like it's all of our dreams to kind of just be able to do that, be able to wake up, produce sort of some sort of material that it's actually fulfilling to make, right? I actually enjoy writing. I absolutely enjoy fleshing out the characters. Like, so I'm in a great position, and I certainly I can't reiterate enough how blessed it is that I am to be able to do that. But also, again, teaming up with other people is very important. Like, I know that teamwork makes dream work is what they say, and just to have people that are around you to be able to mask deficiencies, just be able to do stuff you can't do, are better at you in some elements that maybe you aren't as good at. That's very, very important. I've been able to employ folks that are just absolute rock stars, and just being able to do stuff like this, just link up with other folks who are kind of on our little corner of the internet, right? That do. I mean, good. Yeah. Big shout out to you, man, for all the coverage that you did when we know comic book media refused. This is the biggest story in comics at the time, and they absolutely refused. It
was ridiculous. And look, I mean, that hail capitalism too, because like if you look at it, like I noticed like I was just getting huge clicks on this because everybody wanted to see what the news was about it, and nobody was reporting. So it's like, well, here's a market. I mean, I like your book, Eric, but I'm selfish in this too. Okay?
we all capitalists here, man. We all capitalists here.
So no, it was wild. It was strange watching that media blackout, and that's what they do. They have the same trend every time. It's first like they laugh at you before it's happening, right? And they go, "Oh, this is going to be stupid. Nobody's going to buy it." And then like they see that it's working, and so they go to absolute silence, right? And then they like wait a little bit. And I remember when Bleeding Cool came out with his little hit piece article. And it was like the one piece, and it's just like he was just such a little sarcastic asshole this entire time. It's like this twerp, He's sitting in London somewhere in like some pub by himself, just like angrily typing. And it's
yeah, man, Dick Dixon, as I call him, man, like that idiot, man. But yeah, but that's what they did, right? There was like it was very few people that were just covering what happened. And to your point, I'm glad people were able to carve. I talked about this with the fandom stuff, like people were able to carve out kind of even their own channels, be able to talk about that stuff. That just goes to show where the actual demand war. So if there's other people, like I want everybody to be able to get in on it. So you know, that's what it's about. You know what I mean? If we're gonna be like do this whole parallel economy thing, then we need new screw Bleeding Cool and Comic Book Review and all that, resources and all those guys. We can do it. You know what I mean? We know that they're not going to be honest with it, so we can have people with our own space kind of take the rock and run with it. And to me, that's what it's all about. So like for you, it'd be any growth that you had with that, especially with the coverage of it on Batting in the Comics. Again, we're appreciative of it, just putting eyes on it. And like I say, other people are appreciative of it as well, because to your point, like they just didn't want to say anything about it. We knew that exists because some of their writers would talk about it on Twitter, CBR especially. Like they would down talk us on Twitter. So it's not like they didn't know it was a thing. They just didn't want
I got into their Slack chat. And I got access into it. I mean, the amount of seething that those writers are sitting there doing together. I didn't reveal it. I was just watching it just because I didn't want to lose my access to it.
Yeah.
But man, they were seething so hard about you in there. You have no idea.
I bet, man. I bet.
Oh man, and Hades, thank you for the $20 super chat. Appreciate it, brother. Hope everyone is doing well. Just got here, having a great time. So thank you for being there. Appreciate it.
This is how you survive in the 21st century creator market. You have to become the culture. It's like you talk about, Eric, you have to create your own culture.
Yep.
So you have to be music. You have to be into like, some type of visual media like streaming. And you also have to be on a written media like comics or books, somewhere where you can reach multiple people across multiple platforms with a similar message of like, wake up, take control of your life. It's time. It's now or never. You're at the lemming's edge.
Yep.
Well, it's a big thing about building this culture too, which people don't realize. Like, you have a wonderful channel and you have a wonderful book and you've got a great product that a lot of people are excited about. But in order to create the buzz to really build it as replacement culture, like if you look at how Marvel started, the media was talking about Marvel when it was coming out. Not only that, but they had like the 60s was a different ballgame. They had fanzines. These zines dedicated to just talking about the Marvel stuff. You need those like parallel things talking about it in order to take it to the next level. It's a whole network that needs to be built, and everybody in here in the chat, like you just got to keep it going. It is a thing that that if you really want this Rippaverse to like really hit the next level again, which it can. I mean, there's another. This is a level, but there's a next level. There's a next level. The whole chat needs to just be constantly on it and just like not let the momentum fade. And part of that's coming out with product constantly, which it sounds like you're trying to do. So.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, man. We're trying to, now that we know what's happening, hopefully we can just get to a point to where at least some of these books are basically coming out back to back to back. There's other things I want to entertain. We've been having talks about, do we want to enter in the animation space? All those talks are happening. And it's a great time to have it. But yeah, everybody's a part of it. Like this isn't like kind of a one-man thing with everything that it is that we're talking about with alternative stuff. So just as we think of all these other institutions as kind of legitimate, I guess. And that's cool, but we can build kind of our own thing, and it doesn't necessarily have to. It'll be better because it's not going to be attached to them or the legacy stuff. And there's a lot of other new rock stars that are going to come. You're going to come up with new journalists, new reporters, new creatives, be it content or whatever. All of that stuff is an entire ecosystem, and everybody can play a part in it. You don't have to, let's say, be the actual comic book creator to not only benefit from it, but kind of see the values and the world that we kind of want to we want to exist, where our people that are on our side of the aisle aren't being punished and ostracized just for simply having certain political positions or positions on social bull crap or whatever it is. then we have to kind of build that example. And this is all kind of connected to it. And I love that part about it. Like my guys, you know, we saw Andrew Caffeinated Wolf was in the chat, you know, my social media guy, like to be able to link with those guys, give them good paying jobs, right? And for them to be able to be themselves, right? Not worried about, oh, am I going to get, you know, canceled because I don't agree with this or I disagree with that. That doesn't happen. And these people, because of that, are able to do the best work they possibly can because they're working under conditions that are good, that are well, you know. And I can imagine, like you mentioned in like a Slack chat, these guys are basically holding guns to each other's heads, and that they can't possibly do the best work, especially these
They're waiting for the one slip up where they said just the one wrong thing phrased right.
Yep, exactly. And then they're done. And then they're gonna you know, try to take them down. So that's kind of a lot of what's going on. And you know, those people can't do their best possible work. Definitely these guys that are working for the mainstream. You can't imagine being a writer and an artist, like just working under those conditions where you're like, man, I say something wrong. This might be the day that I lose it all. You know what I mean? You
can't make great art without complete freedom. You really can't. It's 100%. And that's why we see the stark difference between what you're doing and what Marvel and DC are doing. I mean, you could tell that like they have to make sure they check so many boxes for their books that like they just can't even like make a story out of it anymore. It's a disaster.
Yeah.
So
hey, nobody's safe, man. You got them trying to eat Keffels now.
Yeah. She's
that was
tried
fun.
to signal to them. She's now getting ate up by the same kind of culture that they fostered. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's a miserable existence.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of that on our side where they try to purity test. I get emails like, I'm just like, I was when I first started covering you, I would say I have probably a harder right bent than you for sure, you know, probably. And probably my audience leans that way too. And they're like, oh, he's a libertarian. And I'm like, I don't care, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's it. And you know, I really go out of my way to not try to look, man, if we agree with 95% of the issues,
let's go.
Then we're good. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna take that 5% and try to ruin you because we have a couple of other things that we disagree with. So I'm of the opinion, like I hate to see that, you know, there'll be folks on kind of our side of the aisle that are getting into it over just petty stuff. I'm not that guy. I don't like to do that sort of stuff because I want everybody to be great. And like it's, you know, I look at what the authoritarian left is doing. To people on our side, I'd much rather be in opposition to them than people that I agree with 95% on the issues.
I always try to tell people, like when they tell me this stuff, like we're dealing with Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ironheart is going to be MCU's attempt at grooming children. This is what the opposite side's doing.
Yeah.
So like, why would you want me to fight with somebody on our side? Right?
Exactly.
It's like, this is crazy. This came out from Jacob Smith at Bounding this morning. And Jacob is really like is so in tune with like what the underlying messages are. He's one of the best writers at Bounding. And this is scary stuff. It's like they really haven't learned their lesson after all this. I keep hearing that the corporate media is going to kind of taper things down now because I guess the underlying theory was like they were getting ESG money to do all this stuff, and that's dried up. But I think the people in there are like that they've hired are rotten at this juncture. And so there really isn't a coming back at this point.
Agreed. 100%. This story right here is, it's kind of insane, man. Learning more about these guys, you know, with the Ironheart chick, or well, they, them, or whatever they're referring to themselves, as just flat out said, you know, that she wants to be for trans kids, which there's not a such thing, right? Trans kids to be able to see themselves in basically her and what it is she's doing. I'm like, they're pretty on the nose now. And I think that's what's different them from previous decades of generation is how they're cocky enough to flat out tell you what their plans are. You know, we saw this, you remember the reimagined sort of Disney stuff. Well, I think we all kind of covered that, where they were internally all hands on deck. And I think the writer of this Proud Family thing, she's all like the not so hitting gay agenda or whatever, like saying it kind of as a tongue in cheek, but you know, we know what she meant. Like these people are telling you exactly what their positions are.
Yeah, it's crazy at this point. And to think this is what they want to make a role model for a child it's like overweight, obviously miserable. Like it's like they're saying this is what you should desire to be. That it's absolutely wild. With all the get rid of all the whatever sexuality or whatever. I mean that's the image they're presenting. They're not saying be beautiful like Yaira. You got your Yaira t-shirt right here.
Yeah.
And be a hero. Be fight the government. Do something good in the world. They're saying no, just sit there in a hoodie, looking fat and ugly, and you're gonna be happy. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Japan, here's Onagai Muscle. That's an anime about these 5 girls having a crush on this guy and working out in order to get his attention.
That's how it works in reality, though, right? So,
what do you know? The Japanese save us again.
Always. Yeah. Are you an anime fan, Eric?
Yeah, I can get into it a little bit more. We got a whole shelf full of a bunch of mangas back there. So yeah, like it's sad. I talk about this all the time. I'm a competitor. We mentioned capitalism, me being a kind of anarcho-capitalist, I'm always talking about this. And like, man, if the American market, entertainment market, not just comics, just had the humility to be able to be like, dude, we are getting our tails kicked by people across the way in our own market. Like, yeah, old Americans would have been like, all right, we got to be better. We got to compete. We used to be a net exporter, right? Of entertainment, right? People were trying to emulate what we were doing, right? Now it's like to get the half decent, be it animation, be it comics, people are having to go external, right? Go out somewhere else. The people that you influenced, by the way, going to get their material because it's just better at your own game. But they don't, instead of actually looking at it like, wow, we probably should be doing a much better job. They are trying to, and I'm sure we all covered it, take credit for it in American comic book sales and basically saying it's all the same.
Not only that, but they're trying to infiltrate the companies that translate these.
Yes.
And then mistranslate things to add the social agendas in that aren't there. It's really, really bizarre.
There's a hashtag on Twitter if you want to follow it. There are people working to expose the rewriting of these scripts live.
That's good.
Anthony Gonzalez Clark, thank you for $5 super chat. Have you shown the Flying Sparks campaign yet? I think Rippa wants to see that cover. Oh, that's a great time to shell my book. Thank you. Anthony did the cover for the book. He's actually working with Chuck Dixon as well on a book called My Sister Suprema for Archaven Comics. And this is Flying Sparks, Ultralight Beams, which is of course named after the Kanye song. And I don't care whether Kanye is unpopular or not. I like the freaking song. So, and here it is. And I've named every volume after a different rap song every time. So, and I don't think anybody caught up on that because I just don't seem like I listen to that kind of music. I do, but I don't seem like it. But this is a superhero book. If you like Yaira, if you like just this is going to be more of a if Yaira's I'd say more of the Supergirl strength. This is more of a Batgirl strength. So that'll be your yin and yang to that. So this is what you should check out. It's 5 volumes long, 300 pages plus of content so far, and every single one of them is available as an add-on. And the cover that Anthony Gonzalez Clark mentions, which he drew, that's why he's super chatting that, is right here. Absolutely stunning work by Anthony Gonzalez Clark. So good work, brother. Thank you.
Real good.
And that is pinned in the top comment if you would like to check that out. Thanks, chat. Cool. Kikomon's in the chat. Show you Kikomon. Thank you for the $2. Now, Kikomon comes over from a YouTube channel called The Drink with Crazy, who's also a big fan of your work. And we've kind of been building a smaller sort of, I guess, niche of this niche called the Iron Age, which was coined by Razor Fist. And I'm sure you've heard that term a few times at this point. What do you like that? I'm not always into labels, but I think that's a nice label.
Yeah, it's acting as a catch-all for at least people that are wherever you're at, wherever you fall, whatever you kind of call yourselves, you're part of this kind of new thing, and I can dig that.
Yeah, I can too, and just they haven't worked to take that term and destroy it yet.
Not yet.
Like that.
Not yet.
But that's kind of what they try to do. I think it's
Mhm.
gonna be difficult with this one though, because Iron Age is just such a broad sounding
Yeah.
term,
Yeah.
and it just does evoke strength and hard work, right? Which is kind of like really our message at the end of the day. We're gonna outwork corporations. You're about that all the time. You always post like, be great, work
Yeah.
hard today. You know,
Yeah,
it feels good.
that's what I want people to do. Like it's these are my, certainly my core values, and these are the values that I certainly would love to instill in other people. Because look, man, I just believe that definitely folks that are in our corner of the internet, I believe there's a lot of talent, some of it just completely hidden. And I want to see that stuff thrive. You know what I mean? Like freely, I want to see people get out there and be great and work.
What do you think is the next steps for like these movements as a whole? I mean, you've got your own business plans, but do you think 2023 is like going to see a lot of growth again, or is the economy going to hurt us? Like, do we need to do something different to band together, and or are we on the right track? What do you think?
I look at it in a positive way, because to your point, like somebody brought this to my attention, like considering where we were at with the recession, that they acted like it wasn't a thing. We released basically the Rippaverse like right in the heart of that, and we still saw the success it is that we have. So now I'm looking at it like that, like, well, wait a minute, if from an economic perspective, if we can at all bounce back, we may be able to do even more, crazier, numbers and all that. But I do believe that the best is yet to come. I think that people are still trying to figure out these creative ways to do things, alternatives, saying what works, seeing what doesn't work. I think there'll inevitably be someone that will try to do kind of took the angle that I took and maybe add their own flavor, see success. So I think the best is yet to come, mainly even just with the technology, man. People like, and how social media like is just a complete game changer. Crowdfunding in itself like changed the game, like for comic book space, but social media in general, like a lot of our competitors, like in the mainstream, are still operating on an old archaic model. They're overspending for things that don't even work, and I spent $0 on marketing for the Rippaverse, and it did what it is that they're gonna do. Hollywood has to spend like that, half that, basically, to try to to put that many eyes on something.
You say that, but I mean, the amount of like sweat equity you put into your contacts and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking like a decade of work.
Absolutely. No, 100%. Like it's not anything that's gonna, certainly come easy. I mean, you have to build those relationships. Yeah, I encourage people to build those, building those alliances and being honest with yourself as well as the audience, because they pick up on that. I think they can pick up on like what's flaky, what's fake, all that sort of stuff. And the fact that I had been for the better part of a decade just being myself, this is why I was able to do so many different creative things, because it was like I was just being me. Like, hey, I want to perform rap. All right, cool. I'll drop this little tape. I want to do metal. Okay, here's backwards. You know what I mean? It was like I was just doing I have this love for comic books, start talking about that a little more. So I did it. And, people pick up on that. So, but I do, again, going back to the point, like I think the best is yet to come, just because of the connectivity. Like, people are able to link up with like-minded people that they once could. I mean, they live across the world. You would have never had contact with that person. And now we're able to do it just like that. And we're building these sort of relationships that are kind of going to manifest in just so good things, just creative projects. So I think 2023 is going to be a big year, and we're going to see a lot of different things. A lot of people on our side about to release new campaigns, new projects. I got some too. I haven't announced yet that I've spent a lot of money on to make happen. And I think that people are going to have their minds blown once they see it. So it's just going to be a lot of cool things that are happening.
I'm going to guess that means action figures, chat. He doesn't have to tell me, but I'm going to guess that. Paladin Dragoon Rider, thank you for the $2 super chat. Getting there just takes time. # Iron Age. I agree with you. Kenneth Bridgewater. Whoops. Cider, you're touching the buttons. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Congrats. Keep it all up. Eric, I saw your debate with that weird guy last night. Glad to see we still have real men in the world other than me. I guess, is he talking about the weird guy? Being the real man in the world? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Kenneth.
That guy, he barely constitutes as a man.
Oh man, that had to be tough just to like even like extract conversation out of him. I couldn't even imagine that.
It was rough. I was trying to be, and I asked him like, because we talked about the whole autism thing, early on. I asked him like, "Are you autistic?" Because I'm trying to be as patient as I possibly can, and something he just was not trying to get. But he said he wasn't, so I guess he's just stupid.
Kikomon, thank you for the $50 super chat. Really appreciate it. Hail Rippa, happy Black History Month. Glad to see all the success you had. Isom was the first comic I have read and got me into this movement. So you got Kikomon back into comics, which I appreciate. So that's good. Show you Kikomon, which is the soy sauce. Show him the song JDA. Make soy sauce chat again. Maybe a little bit of the song. Rippa doesn't have a ton of time, so there is a song on the internet, which is an old advertisement for Kikomon soy sauce, and it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Might give you some hero inspiration. Maybe I'll play a little bit here.
Show me, show you, Kikoman, show me, show you, Kikoman.
Now, doesn't that make you sad you didn't come up with that?
Yeah, man. I could have made millions of dollars off of using that as a theme song. Damn.
Oh, man. They don't make jingles like that for cartoons anymore. They used to be so good at it.
Really.
For anything.
That was a whole like because I mean early on, that's kind of how I started. You know what I mean? Like that's not even a thing, like a market. You used to have people. The hell, that's what he did on the Jamie Foxx show, right? Like he was like making jingles was his job. That used to be a big market, man.
And all the cartoons, the 90s Marvel cartoons, like the Spider-Man and X-Men, they all cool themed. You got to make a cool ISOM theme song for the next campaign.
I do.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's what
Sweet.
I need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I made a Colossals theme song, and I made a guy to do a cover of it. So
there you go.
You did. I've never made a theme song for one of my books either. I should do that. I should get on it. I think that's a cool thing. Yeah. We know Quaff has with his Shotgun Samurai. That was very funny.
Yep.
All right. So one thing I like to do on this channel, which is a great way to like kind of like close this out over the next 15 minutes here, is I like to EFAP stupid people. And so you have them on, but they don't like to come on my show. So if you don't mind, can we fuck with one of your detractors?
Oh, let's do it.
So are you familiar with Puma Fist?
Oh, this fucking guy. I'm not familiar with him. I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with him, but like every time I like get a clip or something, like he's saying some fucking weird things, man.
Eric July knows you're stupid. That sounds like projection, Puma. Sounds like projection. I have not watched this. Fair warning, but here it is. We're in the dark looking at his shitty fence with, I don't know why one section of his fence is fucked up, and I still don't get it to this day. I've been looking at these for a while now, but I love to watch his videos and make fun of them. And so here it is. He shows up in my chat quite a bit, but I don't see him. So he was he slid up into my my Twitter DMs. I'll give some backstory on this weekend and told me that you changed our time slot for this interview, and I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, I proposed this, and he said okay, and that was it. He says, no, you were gonna do it on Saturday. I'm like, I was not gonna do it on Saturday. I'm out and about on Saturday, and like a normal person, not on the internet. And he's like, yes, he did. And I'm like, why are you telling me? How would you? Where are you coming up with this? And he told me he's got no respect for your time, no respect for you. And I'm like, you just totally made up something in your head. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
But let's see what he's got made up about the audience now, because apparently Eric knows you're stupid, everybody. Let's see.
Which is Warlock's Pumafist here, doing a late night stream. I haven't done much this week, so I figured I'd bang a couple of them out today. We're going to be talking about Eric July and a community post that he put out not that long ago.
It's got to feel good, though, like when people are just like thinking about you, though, on a Saturday night.
Yeah, all the time, man. All the time.
So I'm not going to read the whole thing. It was pretty lengthy, but I've got a couple of excerpts that I'll go over. So it basically starts off with don't get so caught up in popularity when it comes to selling your product.
So what?
I don't know what the problem is.
Don't get caught up in popularity when it comes to selling your product. I hope your product gets more popular. I'm caught up in that.
Yeah. It'll get me more money. I don't know why he's upset about that, because I know now that I know the community post he's referring to. He's referring to a community post where I was trying to tell people, like, basically aspiring artists and writers or whatever, community, whatever it is you're doing creatively, to try to actually build a base that actually rocks with you, as opposed to just trying to get the biggest pond. You know what I mean? So, being popular for the sake of being popular isn't like, we might know who Pumafist is, but we're all making fun of him, right? So that does him no good, right? As far as his like pocket, it does him no. His
entire audience is pretty much due to my making fun of him on my live streams.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I tell everybody to subscribe to Pumafist always.
Exactly. So, that doesn't do him much good,
No.
Says Eric July. Don't get so caught up in popularity when it comes to selling your product.
Be humbler.
Okay. Selling products is all about popularity. Am I wrong there? Am I right?
Yep.
So anyway, he rambles a little bit more on with that, and it bleeds into you have to learn to read markets. Being popular for the sake of being popular is useless. Except when it comes to you, Eric July, you weren't selling comic books when you had 10 subs, right?
Well,
now
I was 16 years old when I had zero. So why would I have been selling comics when I was 16? Yeah, all right. I waited until I was 30 to start a business. Like what?
You would have been like some kind of prodigy, though.
I mean, cool. If I had the startup money that I had for this, maybe I give it a shot. What point is this guy trying to make?
Ridiculous.
1,000 subs. You've been on Fox News and shit like that.
I have.
Now you're selling a product, right? And that leads me to another point. Listen to Eric July whenever.
Wait, he didn't actually make a point. What's the first point?
I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Eric Winberg, thanks for the thank you for the $2 super chat. Unlimited power, exactly. Yes,
exactly what I'm thinking right now.
Yes, except for in Pumafist's backyard, he doesn't have enough power to actually put lights on.
Yeah, he don't have a light back there, man.
That half broken part of his fence is creeping up on you. It's supposed to be scary, like Jason in the movies where he's standing in the distance,
Yes.
Whenever he talks about this fucking book,
these
Isom books, it's always the product. I'm selling you the product and you're the customer.
Are you wrong?
No. That's true, Mr. Poole.
That's true.
That's very true.
You know that ice cream guy? He's screwing you over, right? He puts the ice cream in the scoop, in the scoop.
Whenever you're my fan, right? And I'm giving you a labor of love. This is my passion project.
So you're not doing it. You're not doing it for free.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually in the business of making money, right, and supporting myself, my family, my employees, and being able to continue to give my customers product. That's something that I care significantly about. I'm not doing it.
That's reasonable. I think. Oh my gosh, unless it's a hobby, right? If it's a hobby, he's saying that it should be a hobby and not a business. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bizarre.
You know, this is my baby. You know, I hope I'm selling you a good story. No.
I think you have said that.
Yeah. Oh, plenty of time.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I don't know. The most viewed video for the pertaining to the Rippaverse is the ISOM trailer, right? I mean,
Right.
all we talked about was the story. So it's like,
What can you do? Yeah. His other criticism was fan. I actually don't like to use the word fan very much because I feel like it puts a pedestal versus like demeaning sort of relationship on somebody.
I can see that.
And I think producer and customer is a little more respectful when talking to adults. You know, it's like that's my opinion on that one, but I don't know. Yeah.
It's always the product and you're the customer. So then he goes on a little bit more rambling.
Like, of all things to get me on.
That's an odd one.
Of all things to get me on is because I call my customers.
Yes.
What they buy from me is a product.
Yes.
You're always businessman and customer. You never invite your people into your house and serve them pie. You know, it's just evil.
Well, you know, to be fair, Prince would do that. He'd hold parties in Minneapolis, and just random people would be allowed in. So, I mean, you might want to start thinking about that.
Yeah, maybe.
Rambling about that shit. And he says you'd much rather have a smaller pool of paying customers with genuine interest than a larger pool of customers that are, I forget what he said, like flaky, or something like that, wishy-washy, unpredictable. I can't remember exactly what he said there. Forgive me. I've had a couple of cocktails.
I agree with that. I'd rather have a consistent base as a business, right?
Yeah.
You want a consistent base that you know is going to be there, that you know is going to back you. That makes a lot more sense because then you don't have to like worry about huge ups and downs, especially when you have a family, right?
Bingo.
So, Kiko Man, thank you for the $5 super chat. You should be happy. It's dark. The fence looks worse under daylight. Kiko Splash for your Puma. Proud pay pig. Thank you, sir. And Drake Tungsten. Thanks, Eric, for the quote grift of delivering a product to me. The customer product I enjoyed.
Shout out.
Hell of a
Shout out, Drake.
Cocktails. But anyway, so what he's saying there is basically the same thing. You much rather have a small pool of paying customers, which means the people that you're already popular with, right?
I don't get why this is funny.
Previously, this isn't a popularity contest. Don't worry about being popular, but he wants to sell his shit to the people that he's popular with, right? So he's not concerned about reaching out beyond the fan base that he already has. That's basically what that's saying. He's not worried about people that don't know who he is.
Let's assume that was true. What would be the problem? If it was true, let's say if I was like, I have a market, I have a customer, I want to continue to sell to them. What would be the issue there?
Isn't that kind of what we've all been saying for years, is that Marvel and DC, the legacy media companies, are going out there going, hey, we know you're my customer, but I fucking hate you. Yeah. We don't want your business. We're going to go for these people over here instead. Isn't that what we've been doing? And we're saying, hey, wait a minute. Like, as a customer, that's really insulting.
Yeah.
Like, that's been our whole point this whole time.
That's true. That's a great point. It's like you're definitely considering all these guys got ostracized. Like, we're trying to make material with those guys in mind, something that they can buy and feel good about buying. Don't feel dirty about buying because the creator doesn't hate them. So I don't see what the problem with that is.
Well, you know what the real problem is? There's somebody outside taking the trash out, and they're listening to this weirdo talk in the dark about some guy named Eric Dry and how everybody else is an idiot. And he's just like holding that trash, like, what is happening?
Oh man,
he is, and may see his book on the shelf and pick it up and thumb through it and go, hey, do I want to buy this or not? He's not worried about them. He's worried about all the people that have already subscribed to him on fucking YouTube.
Oh, well, that's a pretty good customer base of more than 500K people.
Yeah, exactly.
I would like that. Please hit the like and subscribe button, everybody.
Last decade or however long he's been
definitely caffeinated wolf.
Right? Guy's got 500,000 subs. He knew that if you launched a comic book, whether it was good or bad, a bunch of those people were going to buy it regardless. But this isn't a popularity contest, people. Not according to Rippa. It's not a popularity contest. Nope. So anyway, he babbled.
It's not really a contest against anybody. You just are selling
Leveraging
basically
the
to
audience
people
it
who
is
will
that I've
watch you.
already built a rapport
Yeah.
with, and anybody should do that. No matter what it is that you're doing, you'd be stupid to just ignore if you already have a base trying to convert those guys into paying customers of whatever project it is that you have. You'd be stupid not to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you launched a book and you just didn't mention it on YouTube, didn't go to your newsletter of the people who prior bought number one,
Yeah.
like why would you do that?
Exactly. No, it's weird. Like no other company would be expected to do that either. You know what I mean? Like to just completely ignore Elon Musk. You know, when he enters a new business venture, like that's why for the most part Tesla doesn't pay for marketing, because it's basically he's the marketer. You know what I mean? So
Right.
he's leveraged his audience to basically start not start that company per se, but sell the products of that company. Anybody would do that,
and it works great every time.
This
Babbles
is
a little bit more.
This is
The
the
what?
magic of what we're doing here as the creators here, creating our new culture, right? You're not the Rippaverse guy. You're Eric July, aka Young Rippa. First, everyone knows your identity before your product. Same with you, John. You're not the Flying Sparks guy. You're John Delarose. Buy my stuff. And that's the importance of being a creator in this 21st century market, is not being your product. You're the ambassador. You're the marketing. You're the face of the product. But everything else comes after you.
Stan Lee, you mentioned Elon Musk. Every great marketer does exactly that. So,
and that's why it's a popularity contest, Puma.
Yeah.
And then he says, you destined, or what does he say? Oh, you don't need to be the most co-signed to be successful.
Very
the
true.
most co-signed. What is he talking about with co-signers there?
It's easy.
Well, you can answer
that. It's an easy thing. Like we talked about it earlier, right? The comic book media refused to cover the Rippaverse, right? We weren't the one with all the blue check marks saying this was the most amazing thing ever. Props to this guy. No, it was all folks that are already on our pocket, like our kind of corner of the internet, that covered it. They didn't, right? All those guys ignored it, right? So we didn't have the cosigns of the industry, but we saw the success that's comparable to it. So that's what that means.
Yep,
that's right.
Well, I think I know what he means. He's talking about people with sponsorships. Except
Rippa,
more or less,
is sponsored by the Blaze.
No, not that.
That wasn't the point. And I'm not sponsored by the Blaze. I provide a service that they pay me to do. Like that's like anybody else does. Like they don't sponsor me. They didn't pay jack shit for the Rippaverse. You know what I mean? So you best believe
I think you got to tweet out a Glenn Beck saying this looks great.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Like, it wasn't like these guys. They're not invested in it like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, what are you talking about sponsorship?
Yeah, I don't know. I love Glenn Beck, by the way. I could go off for an hour on that. But yeah, I grew up listening to his radio program. Man, fantastic.
Right? I don't think he's demonetized on YouTube.
No, I'm not.
Right?
Nope.
So he's got sponsors.
Oh, so YouTube is my sponsor now too.
You know.
Yes, and the super chatters are my sponsors. They're great.
Interesting way to word that. I guess Puma Fist has sponsors because he's on YouTube.
No, he's not monetized.
Oh, he's not monetized. Oh, yeah. That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
You know, even if it's just YouTube, it's still a fucking sponsor.
That's not what that term means.
That doesn't mean that at all.
Views, they make revenue off of him. That's what it is, right? So, and if he really cared about free speech and all that stuff, he'd be off of YouTube anyway. But he stays there. He's safe.
Wait,
what? Does that have to do with anything, man? I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
If he really cared about free speech, he wouldn't use a big platform to get his message out. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. I guess these types of guys, they have, like, I don't know, that little hamster that's just running on that wheel in their head. He's probably thinking he said the most profound thing. Like,
yes.
In his mind, he's like, man,
he had a couple of cocktails, to be fair.
That's
true.
That's true.
Yeah.
But in his mind, he's thinking like, man, I nailed it. I absolutely nailed it. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
I still don't understand what he's saying, like, at all. It's amazing.
You know, this is a safe spot.
Yeah.
To sell you the product. To sell the product to you, the customer, right? Remember that.
Okay.
I want to get that in your heads amongst anything else. You can say I'm full of shit on everything else, but just pay attention to the fact that Rippa always says that he's giving you the product or he's working on the product.
Yes.
And that you're the customer. The customer comes first.
Okay.
Sounds
How
great,
nefarious.
but it's totally fucking impersonal. Puma fist out.
Oh my God, man.
Well, that's it. You've now been criticized because you are making a product and you're selling it to customers and you are putting the customer first. That's a bad thing.
That's a crime, man. You can't be doing that, man. You can't be doing that. Oh my God.
Mr. Reborn, thank you for the Donkey Kong Country 20. I still don't know what that means. DKK. But
that works for me.
I call it
Donkey Kong Country.
I call it Donkey Kong Country.
I like that.
What hamster crawled up Puma's rear and died? Yeah, I've always wondered that too. He just gets so mad at people. But that's just how it goes. But if you're a customer, you're not going to be mad if you missed early on. Eric says he's going to be getting 3 books out this year, maybe even 4 if possible. That sounds pretty customer first, and it sounds pretty awesome. So do you have an idea of which one's next?
Though.
ISOM 2 will be next. 100%.
ISOM 2 will be next.
ISOM 2 is going to be the next book. After that, we'll kind of see where we're at. Both of those other books are in different phases. ISOM 2 is we're going through some. Me and Cliff are going through some slight corrections, and then Gabe will do his thing. So we're going through some corrections, but after that, it'll be done. You know what I mean? So now it's just the logistic stuff. We're moving into a new warehouse and all that. So we got all logistic stuff to what we're trying to figure out. And once that's done, we're off to the races.
Rocket. Marsupial Gamer, thank you for the $2. The customer always comes first. How dare you?
I know. Crime. Absolute crime.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for laughing at Puma Fist with me. That was enjoyable. And I think that's about it at this point. So appreciate you staying a little bit over the hour, and thanks for doing what you're doing. And we got your back over here, and we got your back at Bounding Into Comics.
Yeah, and
we'll be around. So
absolutely,
thanks,
man. I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for having me. And like I said, man, all the work that y'all did doing with yourself with Bounding Into Comics on the cover and the Rippaverse stuff, man. We see that it doesn't go unnoticed, man, and we appreciate it, man. We hope you guys are seeing all kinds of growth going into this next year, man, because everybody's gonna be necessary if we're gonna take it to the next level. To your point, so again, man, appreciate you.
Likewise, once you get the movies going on, man, you're gonna topple this new DCU, which I don't think will be that hard because oh my god,
oh man,
we can
Waller. We're all looking forward to Waller and
Creature Commandos.
Yeah,
yes. Mr. Joker, thank you for the $1.99. Puma debated Organized Chaos. I'll have to go watch that because Organized Chaos is one of those guys who's a crazy lunatic. That'd be fun.
Like terrible news. But yeah, thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate y'all.
Have a good day. And I guess I'll advertise Flying Sparks. Do you have anything you want to advertise right now? Or
no, man, really? I'm good. Y'all can still get ISOM cover C. You can still get that, of course, at Rippaverse.com, but that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, and we will see you soon. Where's my Flying Sparks button, Cider?
Right up at
There's
the
the
top.
trailer.
My name is Chloe, but most people know me as Metagirl, the superhero. In the past month, I found out my boyfriend is the head of one of LA's biggest crime families. I've also drawn the attention of a megalomaniac who's developed the technology to give people powers. His creations have been wreaking havoc all over the city. But worse, this villain has opened an interdimensional portal where dangerous creatures are flooding into downtown. And I still haven't studied for my midterms. Flying Sparks Ultra Light Beams is the final volume in Metagirl and Johnny's superpowered saga by #1 best-selling and award-winning author John De La Rose. The book is 66 pages of action-packed adventure which will floor you with excitement. Back today, only on Kickstarter.